In a previous video, I showed you this beast. This is the Allpowers R2500 battery. This is a solar generator, a power station. And no, just like a gas generator that doesn't make gas, this is a solar generator that doesn't make sunshine. What this does is it will take solar panels or shore power, store it in the battery, and then give it back to you. And the cool thing about us RVers is it gives it back to you in the form of a 30 amp RV plug. It only puts out 20 amps because that's what the battery system is designed for, but it's got that right shape. And just about everything in an RV is under that 30 amp load anyway. It just changes what you can run continuously. And if you've been RVing for any length of time, you know that you can't run your electric hot water heater, your microwave, and your air conditioner all at the same time, even if you did have a 30 amp plug. Even if you did have a 50 amp plug, because that's actually two 25s, not 150. But we'll get into that in a future video anyway. So besides the magic of the 30 amp plug, you also get some regular 20 amp plugs, and I have used this to make coffee at a truck stop in the morning, and I have used this with its USB ports A and C to power different devices, recharge my laptops, run my T-Mobile home internet. And then for those of you that even know what this thing used to be, it ain't no more. Now it's just a auxiliary port. But you can run any of your accessories that use that thing, like CB radios, for example, or low power ham radios right out of there. Or you can even make up your own cables with this thing here. This video is not about this battery pack, it's about the expansion pack for this battery pack and what all we can do with that thing. And so that means I've got to get this expansion pack unboxed and plugged in and all that jazz. Let me do that real quick. We'll get right back and we'll show you how these things connect and how they all work. Power cord, connection cords, manuals, and the battery. Let's get that box out of there. There we go. So this battery is predominantly designed as an expansion pack for this battery here. But because it's got a battery in it, might as well put a screen on it, might as well put some USB ports on it for you, might as well even give you one of those aux ports that we talked about. That way we can see what's going on with it. One of the other things you can do with this expansion battery is plug it in directly and charge it all by itself. So you can have a variety of different ways of working with this thing. This battery will charge this one. This battery will charge itself. This battery will charge itself from shore power or from solar power. And then this battery here will extend the runtime of that battery also. So let's see where this battery sits in terms of charge. This one is at 65% and there is no input and no output. And with no input and no output, we're gonna last for about 18 days. I don't know if you guys can see that through the reflection or not, but I can see it. The camera likes to focus on the reflection. This battery here is at 95%. And it's showing 0 input, 0 output. And it'll last 13 days. And that's without the two of them connected together. Let's get them connected together. You can daisy chain these together in a variety of fashions. The big battery has 2 ports on it for connecting, and the little battery has 2 ports on it for connecting. So I'm gonna take the included cable and I'm gonna plug it in, and it's actually a twist lock spring loaded connection. So you just push it on until you hear that click. And now they're connected together. Let's go take a look at the front. And then on this battery here, there is an icon. We'll get rid of some of that sunlight. There's an icon that shows that it is connected to the other battery and it is putting out 51 watts. And then on this battery here, there we go. There is an icon that shows that it is connected and is not receiving any input yet, but we're gonna have to work on that. We're at 80% now and 95%, 46 out. I'm gonna do a different kind of a test here. What I'm gonna do is unplug the two batteries from each other and see how those numbers change. So we have 94% full and 22 watts output, and we have 80% full and it says 0 input and 0 output. And I really think that is because it's considering this to be one big battery. And so technically this isn't receiving any input, but it is. So I am going to disconnect this joining cable here. You just undo the twist lock part and give it a little pull. And now we have 0 watts output and we have dropped down to 66% state of charge. So there is where your number is. So let me plug this in again and we'll show you in real time. So it says 66%. Click. Give it a couple of seconds to figure itself out, and it went right back to 80%. Fantastic. So before we can do any real meaningful tests with these, they've both got to be fully charged. So I'm gonna plug them in. I'm gonna plug into the bottom battery, which should charge both of these batteries. I heard the click. It knows it's plugged in. We see 60 hertz AC down here, 43 minutes on recharge. It's starting to figure itself out a little bit here. 130 watts input, 224 watts input, 314. We got the fan on. 600 watts input. This should go up to somewhere around 1,000. We're at 1,014, fluctuating between 13 and 16. And that's actually pretty good. You don't want to pull too much power out of your 15 amp circuit on the wall over there. And then this one here, you can actually see it's getting 330 watts input as well. So some of that power that's coming in from the wall is going to charge this battery, and then this battery is taking it and charging this battery here up as well. And this right here is where the math gets interesting. We're saying 43 minutes recharge, and I believe this is 43 minutes total for both batteries, because this one here is saying 10 minutes recharge. So we'll do 10 minutes on that battery, 43 minutes total. So the remaining 33 minutes are gonna go into this battery. All right, 100% full there, 100% full there. Let the testing begin. I certainly hope that this cable is going to reach all the way over to that battery. Now the RV is unplugged. And if you're wondering what this little thing here is, we are in a park that only has a 50 amp hookup. So we get a 30 amp and a 15 amp through this Y cable splitter here. And that enables me to run my second air conditioner on the roof, even though my RV is only a 30 amp RV. If you want to see more about the second air conditioner on the roof, I will leave a video linked up above where I installed that. One of the things that's going to help us out is that All Powers has a Bluetooth app for these batteries, so I can monitor these things from the comfort of my couch instead of having to come out here and look at these screens all the time. I'm gonna get that connected real quick. So on the front it says press the DC button for 3 seconds to turn on off the Bluetooth. So I'm going to do that. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, and you can see the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi icon up here. And then on the phone, I'm going to do a screen share for you. Screen recorder, do both, skip, countdown, start, get that out of the way. I'm going to add a Bluetooth device and then turn on the phone's Bluetooth function, which is done. And then after a short press on the Bluetooth button to turn on the screen, then press longer to enter Bluetooth mode. We just did that. That's that 3 second thing. Next step. And we found the R2500. I did not turn on the 1600, but it also has that same built-in Bluetooth function. But since this is now one big battery, I don't need to monitor the two of them separately. And 100% charged, 1,046 hours and 39 minutes remaining, which is 43 days and 14 hours. But that's because it's doing absolutely nothing. There is 0 input and 0 output. And then I'm gonna turn on the AC after I plug it in. We're all plugged in now, and instead of pushing that button here, I'm gonna turn it on by using the app and do the AC. And now the AC is on. In a couple of seconds, it'll start doing some output. There we go. 550 watts output. And we're starting to settle everything out in the RV. So RVs are a wonderful mix of AC alternating current devices and DC direct current devices. And when you are plugged into shore power, you have what's called a DC converter that takes AC power from the shore and then turns it into DC power to power all the rest of your appliances and to keep your batteries on your tongue charged up. So my water system here has nothing to do with power because we are plugged into city water. But if I wasn't plugged in to city water, then I could run my 12-volt pump off of this battery that I just plugged in for you. But I need some water for the next test. I'm gonna put some water in the microwave and run the microwave. And I think it's really just me trying to have some mechanical empathy. I don't want all that energy going into an empty microwave. I want it going into the water to heat the water up. Maybe I'm just being a little paranoid. So I'm gonna do 3 minutes so we can get a good reading off of the battery. And we're going. And I'm waiting for the battery to communicate, and the microwave might be getting in the way of the signal. Microwaves run at 2.4 gigahertz, and batteries run at, and Bluetooth runs at 2.4 gigahertz. So let's take a look at this guy here. Yeah, we're doing 1558 watts output. So the microwave's probably going to be the strongest thing I've got to run today. And it's telling me I can run that microwave on high power for 1 hour before this battery is completely drained. And just because we're out here, let's take a look at this. 400 watts output feeding this guy, which is giving 1500 watts out. So the two of them are helping each other out a lot. And let's see some excitement on that water. Yep, she's boiling up pretty good. And we lost 4% running that microwave for 3 minutes. So obviously things like lights are going to work. Let's see what the wattage looks like when I click the lights on. Looks like those lights are about 10 watts. Yeah, wow. I'm kind of surprised that those are 10 watt lights. So 10 watts, that was two total lights in the string. So we'll leave those on for the next part of the test, which is going to be this television here. This television here is connected to a Raspberry Pi computer, so I can watch internet downloads. We'll turn that on. And 195, 206, 216, 217, 218. All right, that's not bad. And the TV is up and running, and you can kind of see that it is a computer. So we're also powering the Raspberry Pi computer. This is a Pi 5 inside of a Argon Neo case that has a fan in it. So that's running pretty good, both of those things. Let's do some even more weird tests. This is an electric hot water heater, and I've got an on-off switch down here, so I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to keep an eye on the screen and see what happens. We started at 216, and maybe there's too much metal right here to get this test, to get this data. Yeah, we're doing 1589. Finish your scanning. There we go. Connect. All right, 1580 watts output. So from 216 to 1580. The hot water heater is running, and we're doing 1580 watts. It's gonna give me an hour worth of hot water heating on that as well. Welcome to my home office. Sometimes I need to work from the road, and that means I gotta print some stuff out. So I'm going to print this somehow. Share, download, paper size, letter, download. And there is my document to print. So I hit the print key. Well, first I gotta turn the printer on. And we are still running on battery power. I even have a little fan here keeping me cool. Printer turns on, and let's hit the print button. All right, there she goes. Ta-da! Perfect. Turn that printer off. That printer is plugged into this power strip, which is plugged into a 120 volt outlet behind my wall of awesome. So even on the road, in the middle of nowhere, as long as I have internet, my batteries, and my solar panels, I can get the job done. And that's my T-Mobile home internet, which is then plugged into the wall right over there as well. So I've got my internet, I've got my printer, and I've got my laptop all running off of solar power right now. That's pretty slick. So clearly it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to leave this thing plugged in to shore power, but we need to get some power back into this thing in order to survive the day. So I'm gonna plug some solar panels into this. Over here on the battery side, it's got an XT60 connector. So we'll plug that in. And then I've got 400 watts of solar here that I need to work on. Getting set up. Upside down, always upside down. And then that XT60 cable goes to MC4s, and you just plug them right into the panel. And now we have the solar panels plugged in, and because of the type of sun we're getting today and the cloud cover we have today, we're getting 230 watts of solar input, and we're only putting out 72 watts right now to run the RV. And it's on a recharge cycle, and it's telling me it's gonna take 3 hours to recharge on the front panel, and then the app says that we've got 40 hours remaining on battery power to power the rest of the RV with that 70 watt output. So the big elephant in the room, and I'm kind of sweating a little bit because of that big elephant being in the room, it's somewhere around 90 some degrees today. Let me get an actual measurement for you. It is 87 degrees outside here, and it is very low humidity, and we've got a red flag warning for fire conditions. So we really should be running the air conditioner on this. In order to run the air conditioner on this, you really should have a soft start so that you don't stress your batteries out. I have what's called mechanical empathy, and you know, when you can just take a hammer and lightly tap something, or you can take a 8-pound sledgehammer and beat the crap out of it, I try to start with the small little hammer. So I'm gonna do a video in the future about installing a soft start on the air conditioner so that we can run our air conditioner off of the battery and the solar panels, and we'll see how long that lasts. And because it's the hottest part of the summer and I've got shore power, that's gonna wait until the summer cools down a little bit. I'm headed into southern Arizona, and forecast down there says 107 this morning was gonna be the high. And you know how forecasts work. So I don't wanna mess with my air conditioners until we get safe and sound and don't need them as much as we need them right now. So be sure you're subscribed for when that video comes out. And then after that, I'm gonna do the same thing where I get these solar panels set up, I get these batteries set up, and we're gonna run the furnace, which is a lot less of a load, to run the propane furnace off of the battery pack, because that's only about 10 amps of draw when it runs. And that's perfectly fine compared to the huge heavy startup of an air conditioning system. There will be links in the description down below where you can get these battery packs and these solar panels, and you can kind of mix and match and have the system grow, which is what I did. I started out with the solar panels on a different battery, and then I started out with the R2500, and now I've added the B1600 battery expansion pack. And I think this is going to be able to help us do a lot of boondocking when it's not 100 degrees outside, because it's just kind of like, what's the point of RVing? You should just go where it's cooler, right? This year's been a fun year for heat.